The new channel. The new channel. Hashtag TNCNow.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following shows are those of the host, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to the new channel. Our passion transforms a community that sees all things new. I'm Alpha Sanford and I'm streaming live from Boston, Massachusetts. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, mabuhay. Welcome to Once a Teacher, Always a Teacher on TNC. Hi, everybody. It's Alpha Sanford again. Thank you very much for joining us for another episode of Once a Teacher, Always a Teacher on TNC. Our guest for today has a wonderful and inspiring story to tell us. In fact, when she started her journey as an associate professor in the Philippines many years ago, she was basically my boss. She was my department chair, and I was just starting my career as a college instructor at the then Tarlac College of Agriculture. And now it's now called TAU, or the Tarlac Agricultural University. Our guest was an associate professor for 16 years in the Philippines, and then she left the Philippines to go to London and chose to become an early educator in South Kensington in London. She's been in this job at the Queensberry Nursery for 15 years. So she has a lot of stories, a lot of wisdom to share to us in terms of her journey as an early year educator. And also she's held many leadership positions as an early educator in London. As part of her training in the nursery or early educator years, she completed her Master's of Arts in Early Childhood with Merit from the Roehampton University in London. Her research dissertation was entitled Early Years Educators' Perceptions of Practice in Enhancing the Oral Communication and Literacy Skills of Preschoolers through Shared Book Reading and Socio-Dramatic Play. Ooh, I love that. Also, she has undergone several trainings, including trainings in special education need, in teaching advanced with higher distinction from the Oplex Careers in London, UK. She's also training on mental health in the workplace. She received a level 3 certificate in principles of leadership and management from the International Leadership Management, the City and Guilds of London Institute, and many other certificates, including having almost, I think this would be like ABD, all but dissertation, a Doctor of Philosophy, major in Education Management from the Aralio University in Nueva Ecija. Currently, she is a member of the Chartered College of Teaching in London and also the International Leadership Management in London. So, without further ado, let's welcome our guest for today, Miss Annie Rosario.
Hello,
Hi,
Alpha.
Madam
How are
Annie.
you? I'm fine, thank you. And yourself? How do you do?
I'm wonderful. Thanks, Madam Annie. I go back to our years, the working together in TCA, and I go back to thinking, oh, you were our boss, Madam Anniedith, but now they call you Mom Annie, maybe Annie. How do they call you over there?
Oh, this one now is quite really funny because here in UK they don't have a, but they have a. So it's
Ah,
like Annie. So they call me it's like
oh.
in the nursery they call me teacher, but when you go to primary school they call you Miss. So like teacher Annie, and then they will call you Miss Annie when you go to primary school up to secondary and even in higher education. So in here they would say tomato instead of tomato. So butter
Ooh.
instead of butter. So
Ooh.
the British accent. So
Oh, I
they call
can
me
hear.
Annie.
Yeah, Annie.
Yeah, so teacher
Okay.
Annie. Yeah,
Teacher Annie. Oh,
yeah.
wow. That's pretty good. All right. So, Teacher Annie, um, how long have you been in London altogether?
So altogether it's like 16 years because we came here around September 2006 and it's in
Mm-hmm.
2022, so it's like 16 years. And then I've been in TCA or now TAU 16 years as well, so
Wow.
it's like all together, so 16 years in there and 16 years over here. So
All right. Will you walk us through your journey of leaving the Philippines and then arriving in London?
mm. Yes, I applied actually as like a highly skilled migrant program. It's
Okay.
just like, it's like just a fun thing before. It's like, oh, can I try if I could make it in London? And it says, all of a sudden, it's just like, oh, you are qualified to go to London. So you could also bring your family. Oh, is that so? So it's like, okay, let me try. And then, so when we arrive in here with my family, my husband and my two children, so I look into the possible things that I could get into. So as long as it is actually in educational setting, it does not matter whatever it is. And then it should be like since it is a highly skilled, I should be in a position. So I tried actually to teach also in primary school, secondary school. I was also in college conducting also so like an examination invigilator. So I have seen when I was an examination invigilator, I have seen the context of the kind of exams that they were having. So, oh, goodness me. So these are the things that they are taking into. So no wonder why British educational system is like it's one of the best, like,
Ah,
yeah. So it says like, okay, so what am I going to do now? So am I going to continue as as a lecturer or in higher education? And then I went into the different age group. So I started from the early years, primary, secondary, and higher education. But then my heart melts with the children because I never underestimate. Now, this is the thing, you never underestimate the children in here. They are really, really independent and critical thinkers. And that's something that I have learned from here, which we do not have in the
Mm.
Philippines. Like, as as when I chose to be as a early years educator, I have seen actually that even the babies,
Mm.
like 8 months, 12 months, they know how to count 1 to 5. They know how to recognize 1 to 5. So it is just, I think, in the curriculum of the early years in here. So basically, in here in UK, we have what we are saying, like, the early years foundation states, which is from birth to 5 matters.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to share you is like this. They have the four principles in the
Okay.
early years. Yeah. So you have, first one is to become a unique child. That every child is unique.
Mm-hmm.
That they have their differences, but then you have to respect whatever their differences is. Yeah. And then to become a whole resilient, to become more capable, to become more confident, to become more like self-assured and self-reliant. And that is
Mm.
being a unique child. Another principle is positive relationships.
Mm.
So when we say positive relationships, the children learn to be strong and independent through their relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Relationships between and among themselves and the classroom, between their peers, and between their teachers, familiar adults like their carers, their nannies, and of course the adults in the family, their parents, the grandparents as well,
Oh,
and
wow.
even their siblings, their older siblings, and even their younger siblings. And the third principle is what we call enabling environment.
Mm-hmm.
So children actually learn and develop well in a very rich environment or classroom. And this would contribute into the learning development of the child.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And from this, the United Kingdom has its national curriculum of the early years foundation stage, which
Mm.
consists of 7 areas. But
Mm-hmm.
there are the so-called three prime areas wherein the babies up to 28 months or 36 months, from 12 months or 8 months to 36 or 28 months. The three prime areas are personal, social, and emotional development, which
Mm-hmm.
is encompassing of the child's emotions, encompassing about the physical, social skills, health, and looking into the attachment, social interaction, self-awareness, social awareness, and even like confidence of the child,
Mm-hmm.
and even to regulate themselves, their emotions, their feelings. So they would learn how to regulate their own feelings. And the second prime area is what we call now the communication and language. That's our expertise, Alpha.
That's right.
So this includes actually the child's ability to listen,
Mm-hmm.
to understand, to speak, and communicate effectively with others. And the
Wow.
third prime area is the physical development, which
Mm-hmm.
incorporates the child's movement skills. So it could be fine motor skills using all these hands, the fingers, and which includes also the writing or manipulating, handling of objects, and even manipulating such things like toys, or even tools, or
Mm-hmm.
even equipments as well. And then the gross motor skills, of course, with their running, speed, agility, balance, coordination, with along with everyday functional skills, even eating. How do they eat? How did they use
Mhm.
even the toilet and the hygiene? So
Mm.
as early as 2 years old, we are doing now with the toileting and the proper hygiene and even proper eating. And they serve themselves, when they eat, they
Mhm.
have to get, we are doing now actually that they get their own foods properly. And we, as early as 2 years old, and even in the even babies, they should be doing now the table manners. So they are very,
Mm.
yeah, they are very well trained from babies up to 5 years old. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So those are the three prime areas. So personal, social,
Mhm.
and emotional development, communication and language, and the physical development. And so what are the other four? The fourth
Mhm.
one is literacy. So
Mm.
again, this is your specialization as well back home and ours. So we're in this is actually the early enjoyment of books, when they read the books, even they browse the books. Let them browse the books, they're looking into it. And
That's
then
right.
all of a sudden you could just see them, so like they're making their own stories because they can see the pictures. And then they could see that their fingers are moving as well, so they're pointing. So that's
Mhm.
part of their literacy. And then
Mhm.
also words and print, and to enable the child to link the sounds and letters and to begin to read and write. Even the babies, they can also communicate through their bubbling sounds. And then from one word, and then from two words, then phrases, and then as they go to preparatory stage, then they could make some sentences and they could have links and sounds. So we do phonics for them to blend the letter
Mm.
sounds, and then later on they make their own sentences from the pictures, from the books, from the things that they could see, from the things that they have experienced. And the
Wow.
fifth one is mathematics.
Mm.
So as early as
That's
2 years
good.
old, 3 years old, yes,
Yeah.
we already have mathematics. Mathematics in here is more
Mhm.
on developing the child's skills in shapes.
Mhm.
It could either be two-dimensional shapes, the common shapes like a
Mhm.
square, triangle, yes, and patterns and measuring and numbers. Yeah. So
Mm.
from one to, in my class, they can count 1 to 50 or 1 to 100 depending on the ability of the child. So how fast the child is to learn.
Wow.
So,
So, wow.
and
So
then
teach.
the next one
Yeah.
is expressive arts and design. So
Mm.
imagine we have this expressive arts and design. So in here, the children will explore being imaginative, showing initiative, using a wide range of media and materials.
Mhm.
Anything in the classroom or anything that they could see as they come along to the school, to the nursery, outdoor or indoor, whatever they could get to support their play, to support
Mhm.
their imagination, that would be a contributing factor to become more imaginative and creative.
Oh,
And the
wow.
last one is understanding the world.
Mhm.
Understanding the world involves the child to understand and respond to their physical world and community.
Mhm.
So now we even have science, so STEM,
Mhm.
science and technology. So as early age, they now use the iPads,
Mhm.
electronic games,
Right.
yes, electronic toys, and then they also have problem solving,
Mhm.
wherein we do it during like playtime. We always do it play based actually. And then world, and then the community, to understand what is happening around them, and even their home as a learning home, and even outside the classroom. So those are actually the uh, the things that we do in UK for the early years national curriculum.
Wow, that's such a wonderful curriculum and standards for early years over there.
Yeah.
Now, Teacher Annie, when, say, for example, I visit your school,
Mm.
do I get to see all of those different dimensions every single day, or do you focus on one curriculum at a time?
No, you could see, because you could see all of these things encompassing, embedded, all of this
Mm-hmm.
intertwined. These
Mm-hmm.
are all intertwined, since the curriculum is play based. Because, say for example, in
Mm-hmm.
our setting is inspired actually by two educational psychologists or philosopher. One
Okay.
is Reggio Emilia
Mm-hmm.
approach, wherein
Mm-hmm.
this is focused on preschool, which is a child-centered
That's
and
right.
more of self-directed, and it is
Mm-hmm.
experiential learning.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why in early years it is more of child-centered, because we have to be led whatever the child's interest is. So even though we do it like a child led and adult led, but then we always follow the interest of the child.
Mm.
And then, so that is one, wherein what is good for Reggio Emilia is that it is based on the principles of respect,
Mm-hmm.
responsibility, yes, respect, responsibility, and community, through
Mm-hmm.
exploration, discovery, and play. What
Mm-hmm.
we like with Reggio Emilio's approach is actually like we apply this as well in our curriculum, because in the earlier setting, even here in UK actually, is that we have these British values. These
Mm.
British values actually is also integrated in earlier setting, wherein we promote the children by
Mm.
encouraging them to share their stories about home that reflect their own philosophy, their own values, and the diversity of their learning experiences at home, or even during their travels and the holidays. And of the British values actually got this: democracy, rule
Mm.
of law, individual liberty,
Mm.
mutual respect, and what's the other one? Mutual respect and tolerance
Mm.
of those like different faith and beliefs. Since we
Wow.
do like, yeah, we
So
are
these, yeah.
multicultural. Yeah.
So these British values are incorporated into the minds and hearts of the early
Mhm.
learners.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
It
that's
is.
different, huh?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so the second, yeah, sorry. Yes, it is integrated in the earlier setting. So to become like more resilient, to become more like sharing their individual liberty, that they have their freedom to choose. They have their
Mm.
freedom to make their own preferences. So let's say, for example, in the classroom, if they would say like, "Oh, Miss Annie, Teacher Annie, I wanted to draw." Okay, then go and find your resources, and the resources are just at hand. They could just get
Mhm.
it, so they could just draw. I um i wanted to cut some papers and things. Can I have some, glue stick? I want to cut and this. Okay, the papers are there, but you make it sure that when you finish, okay, you have to put it to, oh yes, Miss Annie, so you can just go, they are free. So that is the very actually what really really strike my heart, like,
Mhm.
so even at a younger age, that they have their own preferences to do. They have the
Right.
liberty to choose whatever their interest is, and then from there we have now to culture and nurture their
Mhm.
interest.
Yeah. Now, Teacher
Yeah.
Annie,
Mm.
sorry to cut you off, but
Yes, of
in
course.
terms of the curriculum for early years, is it the same for the public nursery versus the private nursery schools there?
Yes, the UK early years foundation stage, that is the same through with the state schools as well.
Okay.
What we differ now is how we tailored now in a private school. Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
how we tailored now our curriculum to because it's private, it's highly paid, the tuition fee is different from
Mm-hmm.
different private individual voluntary early settings.
Can
So
you tell us
yeah.
more about that, Teacher Annie? When you
Mm.
said it's private school and you have like a set tuition fee, uh, can you tell us like in terms of the tuition fee rates and just the overall description of your
Oh,
school?
it is a lot. It's thousands of pounds. It is
Wow.
thousands of
Okay.
pounds. It is thousands of pounds. So if you are in it's different from different zones. So let's
Okay.
say in South Kensington, that is zone 1. So
Mm-hmm.
zone 1 is like it's in the central. So
Okay.
it's a different, yeah, it's different payment when you go to zone 2 and then zone 3, it's by zoning. So when you say it's like, oh, you work in zone 1, so it is in almost in central. And
So
it's Kensington. Yeah.
when you say zone one is and then all the different zones,
City.
is that based from the per capita or the income of the parents or where does
Yes.
those zoning come from?
It's let's say if a zone 1 is like this is a Westminster,
Mm-hmm.
which is where we're in the royals and things, the
Ah,
elite. And
okay.
then the royal borough of Kensington and Chelsea, where we are in the borough. You have there the Kensington Palace, where Diana lived before, and Prince
Uh-huh.
William and Princess Kate lived before.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then Hammersmith and Fulham. So these are the rich boroughs.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah,
you really cater, or at least your school really caters to the wealthy and the elite of London.
most, yeah,
Would you say so?
yeah, I think so.
Oh, wow. So I've never been to
Mm,
London. I only can picture in my mind.
mhm.
So describe to us your school, how many students? So if I'm saying I'm walking
Mm,
through, um, how does it look like? Walk me
yeah.
through, Teacher Annie.
Yeah, so it is actually in South Kensington. It is a Edwardian or Victorian building.
Oh, beautiful.
It is very beautiful, high ceiling with all those decorative, the ceilings like that, high ceiling, and you could see the stairs. So as you enter, it is like big rooms. So we have actually babies. So we've got 6 babies because we've got only like 2 staff and we can only cater 6, because
Mm,
we work like a staff child ratio. So for the babies, one qualified staff. When you say qualified staff, the staff should have level 3 child care.
mm-hmm.
So is qualified, so she can hold 3 babies and
Okay.
plus assistant. So it could either be level 2 child care, or
Mm-hmm.
any other qualifications, like let's say for example, if the staff has a degree, any degree. But then as soon as there's one in the room that is disqualified in having a qualification, being a child care certificate or recognized thing. So the 1:3. So one staff
Mm-hmm.
is can keep eye on 3 babies, and then as they grow older, so the next is the toddlers. So they can
Mm-hmm.
have one qualified staff for 4
Mm-hmm.
children in a room, and
Mm-hmm.
then the next one is 1:5. And in my class in the preschool, I can handle 8.
8 only. Wow. It's a
Yes, so
small,
you
it's a
can
small
imagine.
class.
Yeah. Plus, I have, since the rule and the policy is due to safeguarding and child protection. You cannot be alone in your room. You should always have someone. So there is always a teacher assistant.
Okay,
So in
great.
my room now, I have eight
Mhm.
plus one teacher assistant, or sometimes I've got two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, how does your day start like, Teacher Annie? And then,
Yeah.
describe us your typical day at work.
Mm. We work with the from 8 to 6. We're open from 8 to 6. From 8 to 6, and then the children or the parents could choose whether they would have full time
Mm-hmm.
from 8 to 6. And
Mm-hmm.
you could see that most who are 8 to 6 are the babies.
Okay,
The
yeah.
babies, because the parents would in South Kensington, they love, the parents love to work. So it's even like from 8 to 6, and then there's also like children who will have like from 8 to 1, and then
Okay.
we also have 8 to 3, like that.
Mhm.
So staff can work, it's flexible, so you could tell to the management, okay, I want to work from 8 to 6, but then it's like 4 days, it's like 40 hours. I want to come here 5 days, so I want to work 8 hours, so I could have like a shift of 8 to 4 every
Mhm.
day. Or you could have 9 to 5, and then you could have 8 to 1. Would you like to have full 4 days, and then you can have half day one day, just to balance your work life
Mhm.
balance as well. So we always value the life balance, work life balance. So mental health. So the
Oh,
more that
wow.
yes, the more that you are relaxed, the better.
Oh, that's wonderful. I wish we have that
The
priority
more
here in
that
the
you are
United
relaxed, the
States.
better. Yes. What is good now in the early years is that we don't actually do a lot now of paperwork. We have now what we call now our software. We have our software alpha. We are using like art
Mhm.
pathway. We call it art pathway, which
Mhm.
is actually is it is a software. It is a platform. It is a comprehensive early years platform software, which the management chose to have. There's still a lot of platform software like that, but then for us, we chose the art pathway. And that is art pathways, like you could see the development and progress of the child in a rainbow, in an arc, like that.
Mhm.
So with all those, we remember I have mentioned the 7 areas of learning. So
Right.
you could see the art, you could see as like an arc, as like a rainbow, that you could see how the child progresses, the developmental strengths and needs of the child.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
you've got those progress monitoring, assessment to the children, and it's already digital. That's pretty
Yes. You
amazing.
if you could see the child doing like a milestone, oh, he can cut now straight. Okay. Okay. Get the iPad, then, tick, tick. And then if you have time now, you sit down, then tick, 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 write the observation, then goes. And then the parents can view it straight away.
Nice. That's
Yeah. They
wonderful.
can view it nice away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Teacher Ani, you mentioned about the schedule, different schedule of the children, 8 to 1, 8 to 4. So, how do you break down the schedule of the students? What do they do?
Mm. So let's say, yes, their schedule.
Yeah.
We make it sure, let's say for example the 8 to 1, because it
Mm-hmm.
does not we make it sure that we have to cater all the needs of the child, not to left it behind, like, okay, oh, it's not like, oh, don't worry, she will just go home later on. No, but anything that the child could miss, which those 8 to 6 are doing, we make it sure that the child can also get it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, for example, in my class, I've got an 8-1 child. So I'm going to take her in the other room to do is like 1 to 1. So let's say
Mm-hmm.
for the literacy. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
these are the things that we will do, because you're gonna miss it in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
So I will do like one to one. So it was individual learning. Yeah. And
Mm.
then for those 8 to 6, we can expand them. So we
Mm.
give more. We give in the afternoon, we also give more enrichment activities for them if they need
Mm-hmm.
enrichment activities. But if it's not, we actually do some more meaningful activities with them that could really enhance whatever their needs. So we
Mm-hmm.
always look into the needs of the child to tailor everything that we do, the materials, the activities, always tailored to the needs of the child.
Nice.
So
It's
yeah. Oh,
yeah.
by the way, I was mentioning our two approaches, which I
Mm-hmm.
didn't mention. I know you would love this because it is Maria Montessori as well.
Oh, that's
In
great.
hand
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
your Emilia. Yes.
Yeah.
Also, we are also inspired by Maria Montessori. Yeah, because
Wow.
our
Wow.
owner is also like, not that
Mhm.
she is also an Italian, but because we believe of the self-directed activity, hands-on learning, experiential learning, just like Reggio Emilia, and
Mhm.
we believe with the collaborative play that we do like play-based learning. We do also like risky play.
Mhm.
The more that they do risky play, the more that they could have this resilience. We really like to have this resilience in them to inculcate in them and to embed in them, because this is like resilience, like the ability for them to bounce back
Mm,
from
yes.
this. Because remember back home, it's like when a child's just trip over, and then you say, oh my gosh, come here, so we baby them, but in here,
Yeah.
once the child trip over, and then you would say, okay, come on, you're so good, okay, get up and then go
Mhm.
and run again and play, go and enjoy it.
Mhm.
And the child will say, oh yes, I am hurt, and they say, I am hurt. Oh, it's okay, you'll be fine. And then the child will say, oh yes, I'm fine, I can do it again. So
Oh,
how
cute.
is
That's right.
how we do it.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. It
Yes,
brings me
and
back. Yeah.
mm,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Teacher Annie.
okay.
Yeah.
So another thing that I wanted to mention is we are also inspired by Jerome Bruner, the scaffolding theory,
No, I'm
because
not familiar with that.
yeah, Jerome
I
Bruner, the
okay.
scaffolding theory. Remember, I made mention that the staff child ratio. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this scaffolding theory is that the child needs support and active in its daily routine, wherein
Mhm.
he could get it from the teacher or even from the parents. So
Mhm.
the scaffolding, the scaffolds, when
Yes.
you're building
Yeah.
something and you have
Mhm.
this scaffold. So in order to go up and higher, and then you have these scaffolds to build something,
Mhm.
and then slowly, when the building is already completed, you have to take down these scaffolds.
Mhm.
So that's the theory. So once
Mhm.
that we could see that the child is actually already an independent learner and a creative thinker, we
Mhm.
slowly back down to see if he can stand alone on his own and to become more like,
Mm.
more resilient and more independent.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Tichani, I'd like to take a break for a few minutes. And
Yeah.
when we come back, I'd like for you to talk about how to get the licensure and any
Mm.
requirements to become a private school, I'm sorry, private nursery teacher in London. And maybe if you can also share some benefits of working at a private nursery school over there when we come back. All right?
Okay. Yeah.
We'll take a few minutes break and I'll see you in a bit.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Alpha.
Thanks, too. The new channel is an online alternative new media platform of online shows for people on the go. Please watch all our shows as seen on screen. Imagine having your own show, your own playlist, your own content, but we make it easier for you. TNC aims to transform the lives of our viewers through engaging, authentic, and original content. Our channel is a responsible global 24 over 7 platform that showcases Filipino talent, global influencers, cultural intelligence, and ingenuity. Please continue to watch and support Once a Teacher, Always a Teacher on selected Saturdays, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can watch live or on replay via Facebook or YouTube. Follow us on IG. Listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Just search hashtag TNC Now. For sponsorships, please email now at thenewchannel.com or send us a DM. Enjoy these life changing shows because we made them for you. All right, folks, welcome back. I'm going to bring back our guest today, Teacher Annie Rosario.
Hello, Alpha.
Hi again, Teacher
Pleasure to
Annie.
be with you again. Thank you so much for inviting me on your show. It's been a pleasure. Alpha, you've been a very amazing teacher, an English teacher back home. So I really
Oh,
salute
thank
you
you.
and
Oh, thank
congratulations
you.
on your show.
Thanks, Teacher Annie. And same with you. I am just pretty amazed. And I feel like I'm talking to a member of the royalty family with your accent and the way you describe your workplace. I feel like, oh, wow, it's great. Yeah. So I left off with the question to people who may not have an idea in terms of how to teach at a private school over there. What are the specific training and licensure requirements that they need to have in order to teach there?
Yes, in early child care or early year setting, you should have your qualifications like level 3 or NVQ, level 2, or level 3, children's care, child care, learning and development, or it could be Montessori. But in here, if you have a Montessori degree, you go to a Montessori school as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you have a better chance to become a Montessori teacher. So if you have a Montessori degree, you better go into a Montessori school because they would love you in there as well. So not that I'm saying that they don't love you in a other schools, but then
Mm-hmm.
the training that you have is really suitable for a Montessori, which is really very good as well. I didn't have my Montessori, but then I have this early childhood. So yes, you should have at least level 2 and level 3, and to become a teacher in the early years you should have your early years teacher status, which I've got it.
Mm-hmm.
Before my time they called it early years professional status.
Mm-hmm.
And when I had that one, I went into my master's, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I decided to do the early childhood education as well.
That's great.
So which is good.
Yeah. Can you share some of the benefits of being an early years educator in London?
Yeah. So in my case, I could just only say in my case,
Mm-hmm.
because that is my personal experience,
Mm-hmm.
being like 15 years in the workplace in the Queensberry nursery. I have met actually, families who are really very nice families. It's like
Mm-hmm.
to mention, of course, you could see the environment, the community in South Kensington. You have
Mm-hmm.
here the Spanish embassy, the French embassy, the Thai embassy,
Okay.
the Oman embassy, and
Wow.
the people who work in the bank. the people who are like lawyers and
Mm.
barristers, I should say, barristers, and JP Morgan, the they are. So being in there is like it's not only the child, you
Mm.
know, that you could really be amazed of, but even the families. The families are so warm, accommodating. They're
Mm.
really very supportive, and hand in hand, they would always say it's like in every day you could always meet them. Like when they
Mhm.
drop off the child, you talk to them a little chat, and then when they come, a little chat, and then we also have this parent social evening. Parent social evening is just only being like to socialize with them, nothing else. It's like no talking about the child's progress. It's just to socialize with the parents. And
Mhm.
the different thing when you do the parents consultation evening, when you do talking about the progress of the uh, the child. And so of course in the private setting, just like I have been to, of course, first of all, the management, the directors and the CEO always give you, of course, like benefits and friends benefits, of course, like you know those things. So like
I may not know, Teacher Annie. It's different in the
probably
public
some,
school here.
some gifts, items, or whatsoever.
Wow.
So yes,
Cool.
and then yes, and then parents as well are very generous. They are very
Mm.
very generous. Could either be, like most of, yes, could either be like things like I would say it's like even like a perfume like Prada. It's just a box of Prada perfumes that you could give as much as like that. So
Wow. That's pretty cool, Teacher Annie.
to
Yeah.
be to be in a private, I think is something like that I really like because the families are
Mm.
very, it's different. You could
Mhm.
see, that
Mm.
the families are different. They are very engaged. They are
Mhm.
very approachable.
Mhm.
And they are very understanding. It's like you would say it's like, oh, no worries, don't say that, it's fine. So everything's like, oh, I forget to say about, oh, don't worry, I understand. So they're very cool, they're very calm.
Wow, that's so cute, Teacher Annie. Now, is there ever a challenging piece of your job? And if there is, what is it?
Oh yes, sometimes. Well, there are also some, challenging means like sometimes if of course if the child just from my experience, if the
Mhm.
child, with the behavior and things like that, because it's not actually like very challenging behavior, but
Mhm.
when I mean a child is a child,
Mhm.
sometimes they go beyond the boundaries. One is that, and the other one is, of course, sometimes if you get tired as well, and then there are times that you have your mood swings and things like that, but you don't get it, that you don't
Mhm.
get into in the classroom, whatever you feel. There's always be a teacher, that you are there to nurture and culture the
Mhm.
minds of the children. So so far it's not that really very challenging. It's just,
Mm.
it is manageable. Actually, it's
Mhm.
always manageable because we work in the nursery as a team.
Mm.
So we
That's
have this
great.
teamwork. So if
Yeah.
you need help, and if you could see that your staff is is actually is struggling because of probably a child is crying or something, and then you pass by and say, oh, you have to do this. You have to listen. Did you bring with you your listening ears? Did you switch on your listening ears? So why you're not listening? So you have to be listening. And then it's like, oh, okay, then it's fine. And then you always ask your, yes, do you need help? Yeah. So
Mhm.
we work collaboratively. We work as a teamwork as well. It's really teamwork. So we always ask, what do you need? What do you need to
Mhm.
support? Okay, and then you could see, so like, let's say for example, I've got more children, so I've got eight, and I'm alone because my assistant didn't
Mhm.
come. But in the other class, they've got only five, and there are three of them. So they would say, "Oh, they don't need me. They don't need me, Miss Annie. Do you need me? Because they don't need me in my class. So can I
Mhm.
help you?" Oh,
Mhm.
so you could say that. So that's the way how we work with the management, yes, with our directors, with our CEO, yeah,
I love
which
that
is
there's, yeah, collaborative and teamwork at your
yeah,
workplace. That's pretty wonderful. Yeah.
because we always reassure that we
Mhm.
really have this the joy of serving and teaching the children, because the children could feel your emotion as well. They
Mhm.
are also sensitive, they could feel. So if you are stressed, the more that they are gonna be stressed, they could like run around. And then if
Right.
you're like, so it's just like, okay, you calm down and then let's sit down. And then they're gonna sit down and say, but then you say, calm down.
Right.
The more that you'll run around. So no, we don't shout. It's like, if someone is crying, oh come on, what happened to you? Come and tell me why you are sad. I feel sad if you are also sad. So shall we make be
Mhm.
more happier today by smiling? Yeah, so what makes you happy today? I want my
Mhm.
mommy, I want my daddy. Okay, let's go and let's call. So you have to take them to the ICT pretend play, and then you have their
Uh-huh.
the phone. Okay. Okay, hi, hello. May I speak to? Okay, is this let's say for example, is this Charlotte's daddy? So oh yes, and you have to pretend. Okay, would you like to talk to your daddy? And then the child would talk. Yeah, I'm okay. No, I'm fine now. And so the child will go
Oh,
away. So
yeah.
it's like that.
Wow, that's cool. Teacher Ani, can you believe that we're coming to the end of this conversation?
Oh,
Oh,
really?
goodness, yes. But before we end this episode, I was wondering if you can share one inspiring story that you have as an early year educator in London.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, it's like as what I've said, do not underestimate the children.
Mm,
Do not underestimate them. They have lots of things in their mind, and as an early years educator, I have also learned that it is really the foundation
mm,
wherein we could build the child to become a future and excellent generation or a leader. Because
mhm,
once that the child would miss that opportunity, and that's the time that they would look into when they go for their lifelong learning. So the early, the better, the early intervention, the better. So the key here is the time to tackle their behaviors, their learning in a significant life and event, the significant
mhm,
life event. Once that you see the child is struggling, you have to tailor straight away the needs. Once
mhm,
that you could see the strength, you have to enhance it straight away to level up the child. So it is really very interesting to become an early years educator, which I did not actually see when I was there back home. Even though I am an associate professor, we're talking
mhm.
about from the book. But then
Yeah.
when I saw the reality, it says like, oh, so how come this adult become like this? It's just because of the foundation stage. So
Mm,
it is actually very crucial to become
mhm,
also an early years educator, because you're building the foundation. It's just like what I've said, you're building the scaffold. You know the scaffolding theory? You you as a teacher, as a
mm,
key person, you have to walk with the child, and then later on make him to become independent, resilient, to become more confident, and to become, in here they always say like, we have to make the children independent and creative and analytical thinkers.
Wow.
That's what they are implying in the
Mm-hmm.
foundation states. So no spoon feeding. You have
Mm-hmm.
to create, you have to cultivate, nurture. You have to bring out
Mm-hmm.
the best with the child, because every child is unique.
Mm-hmm.
So
For
as a teacher,
sure.
yeah, as a teacher, as much as possible, you have to provide a an environment, a learning environment that
Mm-hmm.
would really that would really steer the mind of the children. That's why in that's what I have loved in my place, is that it is really located in Kensington, South Kensington, wherein I have the Natural History Museum.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Science Museum nearby. We can just walk. We have the
Yeah.
Victoria and Albert Museum. I have
Mm-hmm.
the Kensington Palace. I have the Hyde Park. I have the Diana Park. I have the Diana
Mm-hmm.
Memorial Park. We go there, and the
Mm-hmm.
parents would love it. That when you say like, oh, we went out, the more that they love it, because learning does not only take place in the four corners of the room. I knock down my walls in the classroom. We always go out and
Mm-hmm.
learn things in the museums, and in the indoor, even when we are walking. So
Mm-hmm.
what number is that? What numbers can you see? I can
Mm-hmm.
see the child will say, I can see number 7. So what's the next number on it? So it's 4. So what, 7 and 4, what makes number of that? So they would say 74. So as like 3 years old, 4 years old, they know already 74, because even though you are walking, you are also educating the child. So every chances, you always give the opportunity the child to learn. So
Wow.
even the Mount Pinatubo, I even explained to them, because we went to the museum and we're learning now about volcanoes. Those
Mm-hmm.
3 years old, 4 years old, we're learning about volcanoes, earthquakes, and the dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm. So you
I take
explained that to
uh,
them. Yeah.
and I
Teacher,
showed also,
yeah.
this is our Mount Pinatubo back home. So they
Imagine that.
always ask. They
Yeah.
always ask. You always open-ended questions. Make them
Mm-hmm.
a shared book reading, open-ended engagement, interactions. Always ask the child. Always ask,
Mm-hmm.
and they would answer you with.
Yeah.
You could see how amazing they are.
I can just imagine. Teacher Ani, can you believe that? We're now to the end of our show. So I'd like to ask if any of our viewers would like to get in touch with you, ask more questions about being a private teacher in London, where can they get in touch with you?
Yes, they can just email me,
Uh-huh.
and my Alpha November India Echo Delta India Tango Hotel 28. That's my name, Anniedith, actually. Anniedith 28 at yahoo.com. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
or even I've got a messenger, so it's a Facebook probably. Yeah.
Okay.
And then they can contact you as well, and then you can refer them to me. You are
That's
the
right.
contact person. Yes, you are the refer.
Why not? So for Facebook, it's Anniedith Rosario, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Wonderful.
Facebook.
All
Yeah.
right. Oh my goodness, Teacher Ani. Someday I'll go there and get to visit you, and you can show me around the wonderful area of South Kensington and your beautiful, I can just imagine this royal, wonderful nursery school in London. But before we go, I want to wish you more success. I want to wish you good health, and may you continue a blessing in the lives of the young children, not just in London, but maybe around the world. I feel your love and your passion in really building their values so that they will be productive citizens. So I wish you all of that, Teacher Annie.
And thank you, Alpha, as well. And it's a pleasure being with you in your channel. I know that it took us like 3 months to get into because of the time difference, but it's worth. I really, really salute you. And I really admire you for having your channel. Continue with your endeavor. And I pray that you would have more, probably consultancy later on with being a teacher, and then you are also a director. So I really, really salute you, and I wish you all the best in your life
Oh,
as well. And
thank
God
you.
bless and have a peaceful life and, blessings upon blessings be upon you, which through this channel, you're reaching out people and teachers and even those who are having a plan or dream to become a teacher. This is a really very good show
Yeah.
to reach
Thank
out.
you.
Yes, and I
Thank you,
thank
Sanford.
Direction as well to
Direction and
guide.
everybody else. Yeah. With
Thank you,
that being,
TNCNow.
yeah, thank you too. With that, folks who have been watching us for the last hour, we thank you and we will see you again next time. Bye for now.
Bye. Thank you, Alpha.
You're
Bye,
welcome.
TNC. Thank you, TNC.